you guys, and it's always fun hanging out. So here's what we have: Eagles back at practice. We're going to get into this a little bit heavier at 12:30. We don't know right now. With Jalen Hurts, you could maybe view it as a smokescreen. So Dallas prepares for two quarterbacks. You could view it as Jalen Hurts wishful thinking. We know he's a tough dude. He's going to try and push for this, or look, there's a lot of different directions to you view this thing. Let's get a little basic summary of where you guys stand. Like I don't think he's playing. Derek, I know you talk to people. Barrett, you talk to people. This is just my gut. I think they're going to err on the side of caution unless he's really has a miraculous turnaround here in the next day or two. Where are you guys at?
I'm with it. They're going to hold him out, even though he may be good to go. In fact, I kind of stated it a little bit, just a little bit, and I got slammed and by the stream and you two about it. But
what? I didn't slam
about them maybe holding him back. You know what I'm saying, to let him recover just another week. You know what I'm saying, just from even if he was healthy.
Wait, you would have done this had he not injured the shoulder?
I'm thinking they would have.
I don't think so. I don't think. Oh, see, yeah.
You remember that? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Now I remember us debating this. Yeah. I don't think that's fine. We'll agree to disagree. I think he would have played.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just saying,
you got to wrap this thing up.
You got to finish it off.
I understand they need to wrap it up, but the caliber of competition over the next 3 weeks isn't as good as we are. That's all I'm saying. And just knowing how this organization is, man. I mean, how many times of in the preseason they just say, all right, he'll be fine going into a game without any reps. They don't have a problem with it, man.
Right.
They really don't have a problem with it. And yes, this is a crucial game in our psyche, in our minds, but it'll be harder to rest him with a month left, man. It's a month. So at least he'll have a tune-up and only have to wait 3 weeks instead of 4 weeks. That's all I was saying.
I would just, I look, if we are just hypothetically, he's healthy, he plays this one and I get him some reps in probably one of the Saints or Giants game, I get him a little bit of rep too. I can't have him off for a month.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like he doesn't play this game. It's 5 weeks. It's January 21st. He played the 18th.
Absolutely. And that's all I'm trying to say, man. I mean, realistically, do you give him off that long? And they've had the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
And when you're playing against a lesser opponent, why wouldn't you? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's just something to think about, just knowing how they operate. Their mode of operation is a lot different than what I've seen.
Barrett,
I would have never thought anything about that.
I talked to your compadre last night at NBC Sports Philadelphia, Dave Zingaro, and he says, yeah, they'll absolutely they wouldn't have any qualms sitting him, the entire time. I'm like, 5 weeks, man. Like, here's the difference. If you don't do, like, we all know how they handle preseason, and look, it's worked. They have probably the least amount of injuries of anybody in football. However, if you lose that Detroit game, you're going to have a game the next week. You lose the divisional round, it's over, man.
Yep.
Like, you can afford rust early in a regular season. You can't now.
Well, you sit him this game, and if they lose at Dallas, then you have to play him against the Saints. Or if you sit him against the Saints, and I don't see them losing that game, but if blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then you have to play them against the Giants because the Giants are going to need that game to get in. It means you still haven't clinched the number 1 seed and the NFC East. Okay.
But by design, they could actually be jumping into the number 1 seed regardless. I mean, because I don't know what Minnesota's record is. If they lose one,
they have 3. They have 3, Barrett.
They have 3. Yeah. So Minnesota if the Eagles have to win,
3. Yeah.
Eagles just need to win one more game.
Right.
Okay. And even if they finish in a tie with Minnesota, they have the tiebreaker over Minnesota. Now, I'm going to throw this caveat at you, gentlemen. I'm going to start by saying everything I've been told is he's fine. He's fine. But as I said before, there's a 50-50 chance they may sit him out the Saints game. So you know me, the wheels start spinning. And I'm thinking, if you sit him out 2 consecutive games, then that tells me there's something a little bit more, my experience, my personal opinion, that's something a little bit more than just a sprain. Is there something in that rotator? Okay. So with that said, I'm having a conversation with one of our colleagues last night, I'm going back and forth with Adam Kaplan last night. We just chatting. So he tells me some things. I tell him some things. And all of a sudden he says something that, and I said, what? He says, we've been hearing certain things. Now, Kaplan is as tuned in as anybody.
Especially with injuries. Adam is all over, has always been a big.
Jeff Mosher has his contacts, right? Mm-hmm. So now the wheels will really start spinning. Is this a smokescreen in terms of them telling everybody, oh, he's fine. Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe he is fine. But if you sit him 2 games in a row and you haven't clinched, see, that tells me it's something a little bit more than just a sprain then. And they're covering it up until he's ready. Now, when would that be? I don't know. Don't know.
I can't say that I could even believe that, man, because it may not be that injury, it may be something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It may be, foot might hurt. I mean, you never know, man. It's just this organization, man, they don't mind. They think so highly of Jalen that they wouldn't mind holding him back at any point.
Right.
At any point, and let him ride out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different. It's a little different in how you approach with Jalen Hurts. And when you have the quality of backup that they have, they definitely don't have a problem with it. So
things are just going too smoothly. There had to be some kind of you can't just be 13-1 and winning every week and everybody's great, MVP and all kinds of Pro Bowlers, and it was just too smooth for Philadelphia, man. You knew it.
See, Andy B says D Gundy still played after he injured the shoulder. Sure he did. Yeah, absolutely. Could he have done more damage to it? I mean, he was still slinging it now after he got hurt. Could he have done a little bit more damage to it, but still slinging it? We don't know.
Well, the other thing is, and you guys know this.
I've seen this happen too many times.
Yeah, well, especially you, Barrett. I mean, there's adrenaline in a game that can cover up for a lot of things. You wake up the next day and you're like, "Whoa, man! What the heck happened?" Or you're flying home and it starts to hit you.
There you go.
You feel like a train hit you or something, man.
Yeah.
Or an injury.
How about if you sleep a certain way, you wake up the next day?
And especially with this guy, like it's sore if this dude's even saying anything to the staff, or the coaches or his teammates. He's feeling it.
Right.
So, I don't think we see him in Dallas. I don't know what they do going forward. I'll go on record right now and I'll tell you, I think it's a mistake if you sit him out 5 weeks.
Absolutely.
You gotta, if he's right, if he's hurt, you gotta do what you gotta do. He's right. He's got to play in one of those games, man.
See, look, I'm looking at people in the chats, man. They don't get it, dude. They don't get it. See, well, if he was that injured, how could he have done what he did? People don't understand, man. They don't get it. Oh, he's fine. Yeah, he might be fine. I hope he is. You people don't understand. How many years have you been covering the game, Rob?
27.
I've been covering the game 42. How many years you played the game, Barry?
12.
How many years you cover the game?
10.
How many times have we seen players finish off a game and all of a sudden he's on the IR the next day because of something?
I mean, I've done it myself.
There you go. See,
I've done it myself.
I just see that people just see that it just drives me nuts, man. Why could he have done this? It could have been a sprain when it happened. He could have done something to it later in the game.
Yeah.
You don't know, and then when you're cold, you don't really feel it.
Well, and you can for the time you could have some adrenaline, and then you could aggravate it later on any little thing. And I didn't see him go to the locker room, so I don't even know if there was any help given to it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but just because he was able to finish, like Donovan was out there on a broken ankle. Carson Wentz. We'll talk about Nick Foles in a little bit, but Carson Wentz. On a shredded knee, not just an ACL, like everything blown to bits, is out there slinging touchdowns. I don't know how the guy did it. So, but anyway, it happens from time to time.
And you, like I said, man, the adrenaline, the hype of the game gets you through a lot of stuff.
Great minds think alike there. There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Dan and I on the same page.
What is that? Wait, Wentz got hurt? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's Absolutely. What I'm saying. Yeah, but there were, it's, I would just tell the folks, just don't necessarily go by that. Like he could, you figure things out as time goes on sometimes. And it's, look, man, it's his throwing shoulder too. Like this is you got to be cautious here. You didn't come this far to force him out there and make it worse. And then you look at Gardner Minshew in the playoffs, man. You didn't come this far to do that.
This team has enough talent and depth on both sides of the ball to play these last 3 games without Jalen Hurts and win 2 or 3 easily, at least easily.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you're talking about clinching, and if you're talking about keeping your quarterback out of multiple games, you have to wonder, because we've seen it too many times. You experienced it too many times. You've been there. You've done that. So, even though an organization tells you, how many times have NFL organizations lied to the media and the general public about something with a player?
Yes.
It happens weekly.
Right. Or you just, you could, even you don't have to flat out lie. You can just sort of like shell game
smoke screen it. Yes.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just,
I hear you.
Fitness Rebel takes exception to the fact D-Gun saying you people again. Okay, Fitness Rebel, don't be so sensitive. When I say you people, the people I'm referring to know who they are on the chat. They're going to sit there and, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This, that. Okay. Are you talking from a fan perspective, or have you covered the game? Have you talked to, have you been inside the locker room? I'm just saying we have a different perspective. That's why we throw every possible conversation out there, because somewhere along the line is the truth.
Yeah, I think, look, they know, by they, I mean, organizationally, they know better than anybody else what's going on with this guy. Here's my fear to an extent, because Jalen is such a gamer, he may not be completely forthcoming with how it feels, because he wants to go out there with his guy.
That happens.
There you go.
And I'm worried about that. I'm legitimately worried about that.
All the time.
That happens all the time. I had a high ankle sprain, bro. And most of these guys, they get a high ankle sprain. They don't play for what? 3-4
That's a bad
weeks?
one. Yep, that's a bad one.
Like 4 to 6 weeks. Bro, I told him to shoot it up, and I played the next week. And we only had 1 game left in the season. We weren't going to the playoffs. And I started that game, and I played in that game against Washington. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ended up that I actually, the ankle was broke. I didn't know it was broke until I went the next year. I left and went to Detroit.
Wow.
And I'm at Detroit, and they said, man, I went through practice during mini camp, not mini camps, but OTAs. And I tweaked it again. I'm like, man, what is going on with my ankle? Why am I feeling like that? I went and got x-rays. They said, man, you got a piece of dead bone that got cracked off in your ankle. When did you do this? Because it's dead, but it's not. It's like, I don't know if you can say newly dead, but it hasn't, when, it wasn't.
Right.
So it was like, man, this is, so they had to take it out, you know what I'm saying? And then I practiced the very next week, even though they took that out, so it's like,
jeez, man,
it's you don't want to get Wally picked. You don't want to have somebody come in because you're hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what have you done for me lately? It's a very unforgiving league, man. Very unforgiving.
And I really don't think this. I don't, because I know how Jalen is. I think other players, this may come into factor, because I've heard this floated. Other people saying he's going to want to play because he wants to win the MVP. Like, I don't believe me.
That's
I think he
definitely not the answer.
No, and I think he wants to win the MVP. However, I don't think that's why he would go out and play. I think if he wants to do it because he wants to play with his teammates, he wants to beat the Cowboys, he wants to lock it up. That not because he wants to win the MVP. And I get where people might think that, but I really don't think that's his mind.
Not to the detriment of the season.
No, that man wants that Lombardi more than anything else.
Yeah.
Just like that whole team. Howie built this team for the Lombardi and nothing more.
Yeah.
And any other accolades individually players get along the way, that's a plus in their cap. But this was about building a team that could get to that final game right now. When we all thought back in April and May, they were building something for the future, the immediate future. Well, the immediate future jumped up on us real quick as they kept adding all these big name players. And so here we stand with a team that could very well be in the Super Bowl. And well, if you don't, why would you take unnecessary a chance with him,
right?
If you don't have to.
Damn it, Sills makes a good point here. If you're Dan Quinn, you tell him, it's almost assumed if he's out there, pile drive him, man, drive him into the ground, especially if he takes off with the ball.
Yes.
So
people want to say that's dirty football. No, it's not.
No,
that's football.
It's the NFL.
That's football. That's college football. That's any football. Hey, key player has an injury. I want you to hit it. Yeah. He's playing with a fractured finger. Slap that hand.
I told you guys what Seth and his defense said back in the day. I want to see how the backup quarterback plays.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
That's it in a nutshell. I want to see the backup quarterback can play.
Yeah. No, Fitness Realm makes a good point. If he wants to win the Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVP is more important. Plus, getting the two rarely happens. She's right about winning the MVP and winning the Super Bowl rarely happens.
Right.
Well, let's say for me, a perfect world is you do rest them Saturday. You still beat the Cowboys. I know it's going to be tough, but you still beat the Cowboys, and then you're able to get him a little bit of work quarter.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that it's going to be hard work, bro. Beating the Cowboys. I really don't.
I hope you're right.
Barrett, you are very, very confident in this game, man. I will say that. So Gunnar, before you jumped on yesterday, we're kind of digging into this one, and I mean this. I love it. Barrett was shot out of a cannon, man. Like, he was on. And
was CTE or was it just
passionate?
A little bit of both. Big Bird, all that stuff. No, seriously.
Big Bird. Yeah.
No, seriously. I just think that we're a far superior team to them, even with our backups.
I agree.
I don't see Dak as being that quarterback we have to fear. Number one.
Yeah,
I agree.
Number two, you stop Tony Pollard, you stop that offense. I believe now we know how to play against crossing receivers. Crossing receivers killed us. Terry McLaurin killed us on these crossing routes. Now they understand how to play those routes because it's monkey see, monkey do when you're a defensive coordinator. When you're offensive coordinator, you see some guy do this and have some success against it. You're doing the same thing. Well, they finally got the hang of it. They're stopping those type of routes. Now going into this, what does Dallas have to counterpunch? They really don't. I mean, you stop that running game, you stop that offense, man, because they can't drop back and pass against the way our line is pass rushing. They can't do it. They can't do it. And I really believe we're going to run the ball more consistently because we're just going to want to humiliate them. The worst thing you could do to a defense is run the ball. Ask Dan. Dan, I'll comment on this.
Right down
if you run and they can't stop it, bro, they look like sad puppy dogs. I mean, their tail goes between their legs. They start getting up a little slower. Bro, it's the most humiliating thing you can do. Again, that's when they start arguing against each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on?
And then you got guys start bickering with each other. Hey, Barrett, Miguel Torres says, "Stop, Barrett. You've jinxed too many teams this season."
What team did I jinx?
The Raiders.
The Raiders are one. Who else did he? I'm trying to think.
I don't think so. I think that's it.
The Raiders was the only team I was high on, but I was. Yeah. I mean, I feel you on that, bro. But I've been high on Jalen Hurts and the way he's going to play since way back in training camp. I said he was our guy. Well, I didn't want to go invest in anybody. I've been day one on Jalen Hurts and see what he's done now.
The line for this game has been insane. So it starts off before we know about the Hurts injury, and it's the Eagles are either -1 or +1 in certain places. It went as high as the Eagles were 6.5-point underdogs at one point. Then it dropped to 5.5. Now it's down to 4.5. So, that's interesting that it's headed back towards the Eagles here.
You know why? Because they understand. They're listening to what I'm saying. Gardner Minshew is a very capable quarterback.
Absolutely. That's why he's here.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about a guy that has some success. He can hose it, man, and he can bring some excitement to the team. We all know that, they know what they're going to get with Jalen. So that excitement's already built in. They know that they can rely on him to win a game for us.
Yeah.
But you'll get an excitement with Minshew because he's a nut. He ain't got it all. And he's playing on house money. Yeah. He's trying to make it to that next level. He's trying to get a contract. He's trying to get to a team. He wants to show everybody that he's a starting quarterback. So you're going to get a different effort out of Minshew. Minshew is going to try to will that game himself. And I'm not going to say it's going to be a bad way in the way he's doing it. He's going to use the talent that he has. And best believe, he's not going to forget about A.J. Brown or Smitty. He's going to be going to them too. But he's got Dallas Goedert back, man. And that's the dimension that Dallas does not have a checkmate with. They don't have a means of stopping Dallas Goedert. I mean, it's already they're starting. Van Der Esch is already out. I told you, Donovan. I forget his last name. Donovan somebody that number 6. I forget his last name, man. But he is the guy. He is the guy that we have to focus on and make sure we know what the heck he's doing, man. Because he's become a very good player for that Dallas team. A very good player in his blitz packages, and how he covers tight ends and plays around the line of scrimmage. Number 6, Donovan Wilson, number 6. He's a game changer, man. He's gotten pretty good, man. He's gotten pretty good.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll keep our eye. Yeah, he's a 4th-year guy out of Texas A&M.
Yeah,
is Donovan Wilson, 6-foot safety, 204 pounds. So that's one of the key guys for Barrett. Yeah, we're going to get into how you attack this, what the Eagles need to do from a defensive standpoint in a second on this for sure. But yeah, that's it's fascinating, man. I think the whole thing there's just more than anything else. I think this organization errs on the side of caution when it comes to injuries. For that reason, I just don't think we'll see him. I just don't. And I know there are people out there who believe, like they'll point to the example of Josh Allen. You remember we were like, oh my God, he might have Tommy John surgery and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden he's playing that week. The only thing I would say is first of all, everybody's different, right? Not everybody's body's the same. They're different injuries, different people. So, you can't just do the cookie cutter, like, well, he played, he should play. Like, no, not necessarily. I mean, it all depends on, you got a quarterback who's mobile, whose game is using his legs at times, exposing himself to hits. And it's not just the hit, it's the landing. And if that shoulder's not right and you bang that you don't want to re-aggravate it and or make it worse. You just don't. You can't do it.
You don't want a 300-pound dude with all of his weight slamming you to the ground on you. I mean, that's how he got hurt in the 3rd quarter in the Bears game. That's how he sprained it, So sometimes you have to protect the player from himself, and obviously if the Eagles understand the crucialness of this game and what it means. 1 win, number 1 seed, division wrapped up, they get this. But if Minshew starts, it's a precautionary measure, and rightfully so. This was a team, but I was also told if this were a playoff game, Hurts would play.
Right.
So he would play through this. But like I said earlier, Minshew he's 2 years into this system. He has enough talent around him to get the job done. Now, see, Barrett seems to think that Dallas is still reeling from that Jacksonville game. And if that is the case, then Mike McCarthy should not be your head coach.
I don't know. It's not even that, man. It's not even that. I just see so many kinks in their armor.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's the major part. I see so many kinks in their armor. There's too many for self guys on that team. That's a very selfish team, bro. Very selfish team.
Yeah, it's a bunch of me.
Exactly.
Me.
Exactly.
I expect him to come out throwing haymakers. First of all, it's Cowboys, Eagles. It's Christmas Eve. It's the middle of 3 games on Christmas Eve. You're on national TV. The Cowboys, you're home. You're at home. Your media and your fan base down there is lambasting you for blowing that game down in Jacksonville. You blew a 17-point lead. So if anything, all they're doing is add more logs on the fire. Now, so, you can be so fired up, you can play out of your scheme too now. Yep. You can get to the point you start doing stupid stuff, extra penalties, offsides, unnecessary roughness, all kind of stupid stuff. If your coaching staff can't rein you in, that's a big problem for your team.
Yeah. Well, you're right, bro. You're right. I was just going to say the stream is starting to get it now. They understand where we're staying now because, Drew Nicholas says we have bigger goals than Dallas in mind. And then Jeff, right before that, right after that says Vegas knows something. Yes. For the real fact they're going, it's 4 now. I can't believe it went down to 4 now, Rob.
Yeah.
What that happened?
Why do I think it's going the other way now?
Yeah.
I think the reality, it's 4.5. I think the reality is, I think people are starting to probably, I would guess there's a couple things because you're always trying to have it if you're Vegas. You're trying to get people on both sides to bet both sides. Right. But I also think the reality is it's not a 13-1 team, even though Hurts is playing incredible by coincidence. And they're still going to go out there and play a really good game. Like I would have grabbed, if I could have gotten it at 6, I would have grabbed the 6 in a second. In taking the Eagles. I think Steichen and Sirianni are going to be on fire in this game. I think they are going to be drawing up stuff that is absolutely bonkers. Yep. I'm telling you, man, you're going to see kitchen sink kind of stuff in this game.
Absolutely.
With Gardner Minshew. I do.
And you're right about that. And in so many ways, Michael Parsons is going to be right in what he says because they are going to go out and play better with Minshew. You know,
who cares?
They're going to play good. Well, not better, but they're going to play very good with Minshew being in there. So he'll be kind of right. Sims will be kind of right also. But they won't.
Maybe. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And the
right. That's what I'm saying. It's nothing like anything demeaning to Jalen Hurts.
No.
This is a good team, but he is the cog that gets that whole thing going.
And I think we all know, we've seen it too many times when somebody goes down, there's an emotional lift, that everybody realizes, all right, we got to pick it up a little bit here. Right. Because we are a little bit short. And then everybody steps their game up collectively. Not that the Eagles need to do a whole lot to step their game up. They played great football.
Right.
But you can ratchet it up maybe even a notch or two more.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can, man. I see him doing that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do too.
I see him doing that.
I do too. All right, so let's do this. We'll continue with the Eagles talk. And I want to get Barrett's game plan a little bit on. I want to hear what Barrett thinks the Eagles need to do defensively. To stop the Cowboys offense, because we just kind of touched on, but I also want to hear what you think they should do with Minshew, how they put him in the best position to succeed. But also, guys, we lost a legend in NFL circles.
Yeah.
Franco Harris. Franco Harris, a South Jersey guy, he played at Penn State. Just listen to this for a second. When the running backs, Franco Harris is, I think it was his junior year, they had Franco Harris, Lydell Mitchell, and John Cappelletti. They were so good in the backfield. The Cappelletti, who 2 years later would win the Heisman, was moved to defensive back. He wasn't even in the backfield. He was that good. And Franco was the fullback for Lydell Mitchell.
Oh yeah,
that year.
Absolutely.
So and then he goes to Pittsburgh and explodes as just a halfback. But we all know, not only a Hall of Fame career, but one of, if not the most iconic plays in the history of the NFL. So one of the things we'll do when we get back is we'll dive into what the greatest play in NFL history is. Well, that's an easy one, right? No, that's a pretty daunting task.
It's funny. I don't mean to cut you off. But, I covered the Steelers for 10 years and had the honor of getting to know a lot of the former Steeler greats, as well as current players that I was covering. And Frank was one of them I had a good friendship with. To the point, my wife brought it to my attention this morning. She said, do you remember the time we were in an Italian restaurant and Franco was there? And I said, huh? And she said, and then when she brought it up, I said, okay. He saw me. He got up and came over and introduced himself to my wife. He said, hello, Mrs. Gunn. And it just happened to be my mother-in-law from California was there. Now, my wife's family is big Raiders fan, but my mother-in-law loved Franco Harris.
Okay.
And so he introduced himself to her, and that just made her day. But that's the kind of dude he was, man. He was low-key, soft-spoken, always trying to help somebody out. Just a great dude, man. And, people are still trying to figure out what happened because when I started looking at a lot of the feed last night, people are saying, I didn't know he was sick. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Right. And all of a sudden, his son tells AP that his dad died, and people are like, what? Wait a minute. He was about to have his number enshrined on Saturday before the Raiders-Steelers game.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, jeez.
I know. And Friday's the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
Yes.
It's just the timing it's unbelievable, man. It's tough, man. Tough blow. He was and you knew him, Gunner. I didn't know him. I met him.
I know him very well too.
Yeah, Barrett. Yeah, you're a Steeler, man. I had the great fortune of just meeting him, and I was like, man, this guy is the nicest human being you'll ever encounter. Gracious,
no question.
Appreciative of everything, and
dude, just a very humble, soft-spoken guy, and man, you know what? The NFL lost a great one last night.
No doubt.
Well, put it like this, man. Every time you go to McDonald's, half the buns on the Eastern Seaboard were owned by Franco Harris. He has a company. He's a part owner in a company. Yeah. They supply all the buns from McDonald's.
Right. Is that right?
People, yeah.
So Franco did all right for himself after.
Yeah, football. He did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. To show you what kind of people person he is. Athletes, they like to live more secluded. In nicer neighborhoods. Franco, when the north side of Pittsburgh was starting to be revitalized, it was called the Mexican Wall Street District. Frank, and the houses were older, but they were well built, beautiful hardwood, everything, the way the houses should be built instead of all this fabrication stuff we see today. He had a house right there on the north side, set below the hill where I worked. It was right in the heart of just a normal neighborhood. And, the thing with people didn't bother him. If they saw Franco come out, they say, hi, Franco. But it's not like people would knock at his door, but he lived right there.
Wow.
Now, maybe later in life he moved, but as I knew him, he had a house right there, beautiful, beautiful home right there that he had refurbished on the north side.
That's
and
cool.
So he was just one of the people, man. It's just if you didn't know what he did for a living, you would think he was an everyday guy.
Yeah, he was. He was that everyday guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough loss. So rest in peace and his family. I'm 72, way too young to be losing a guy like Franco, man.
Yep.
That's for sure. All right, so we will we'll step aside for a second here, and we will we'll game plan this one up a little bit. And like I said, we'll dig into the most iconic plays in NFL history. We will do that a little bit later. You thought you saw the last of Nicky Six? Think again, my friends. Nicky Six is back.
He's back.
So we will talk about that. We'll do our AFC power rankings. We got a little fun one for you with the we're going to tie in with birthdays today with one of our favorite actors. So we'll do that also. Got a lot in store for you. Don't go anywhere. JB says, I love Barrett's vibe going into this game. The only thing better than beating the Brady Belichick and the Oats for our first Super Bowl would be beat the Pats. Okay. For the first, I'm like, would be beating the Cowboys 3 times in a season. All right. Hey, JB, I'm with you there. Amen. Appreciate all your support, guys, as well. So a lot to dig into, man. That's for sure. So we will continue the discussion here. And JB, by the way, we thank you for your support of the programs. Give it another touch here. It's going to 4 because the Eagles are legit up and down the roster aside from Micah.
Okay.
Better roster. Okay. I got you. I hear where you come from, JB. All right, JB. Appreciate you, man. All right. Let's get a timeout. We'll come back and we will dig a little bit deeper into this matchup and talk about the best plays in the history of the NFL. Barrett, Derek, Rob, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Yes, Principal Financial Group and Jim Murray are the people that you can trust with your hard-earned money for your future. All right. I know I went years trying to find the right person, and I want you to stop kind of looking around and not being sure. I got the right person for you, and it's Jim Murray. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you might have a small business, you're trying to set up your employee benefits. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know he's helped me with a lot of stuff, including my IRA, my 401k rollovers. I couldn't be any happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. Or you could email him, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.